All right, today is a tutorial about Davinci Resolve. Davinci Resolve is, oh man, where to start? Well, let's start with the important part, the price. There are two versions of Davinci Resolve. There's a free version called Davinci Resolve. It was previously known as Davinci Lite. And then there's another called Davinci Resolve Studio, which is paid. If you buy a Blackmagic camera, they give you the paid version for free, which is an incentive to buy the camera. The other thing that's important right now is that there's a beta version and a stable version. The stable version is 16. I recommend installing and using 16. I also don't recommend upgrading to 17 if you haven't already. And this is because the public beta is not backwards compatible with the stable version. That makes you want to pull your hair out if you've upgraded already, and all of your projects have also upgraded, and the database of 17 is upgraded, and you, like me, encounter all of these bugs and crashes and flaws in the public beta, and you would love to downgrade to 16, but doing so you would actually have to erase all of your project databases and restart everything over again. So if you want the free version, get Davinci Resolve, and I recommend 16, at least until 17 has all the bugs worked out. As of January 28th, 2020, public beta 17 is not ready. Okay, so let's open Davinci Resolve, and the first thing that you see is actually, well, you see that I'm running Davinci Resolve 16 on this old laptop. This is not the world's most powerful machine. This is an older 2017 or 2018 MacBook Pro with 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's sufficient for editing HD equipment, or HD footage rather. And you see when you open DaVinci, you get this projects window, which is the database that I just told you about. We're just going to click on new project, and of course you're going to write the name. We're going to do test 4. This is the 4th time making this video, and hit create. Okay, so DaVinci, they're crazy. They're crazy because the makers of this software are crazy because they open you into the cuts window, which is a controversial window. It's loved by some, ignored by many, including myself. Opening this up, you think, okay, there's basically 3 rectangles that I'm working in. There's the no clips and media pool message window, which is your media pool. There's the timeline, and then there's the project monitor on the right-hand side, upper right-hand side. As I mentioned, a lot of people don't use the cut workspace. It's made for sort of making a rough cut or looking over a whole bunch of footage and choosing the parts that you'd like, the select parts of your footage. I don't personally use this a whole lot, and a lot of the things that a person would do when they open a nonlinear video editor, you could actually do in other workspaces. And let's just break down nonlinear editor, NLE, really quick. There's 3 stages, roughly. There's the choose the media that you're going to edit stage. There's the edit and manipulate stage. And then there's the export, render, or save stage, which is when you wrap the whole project up and you send it out into the world to be its own piece of media. So the first thing we want to do is we want to import media. But I'm actually going to click on the Edits tab, which is going to take me to the Edit workspace. And you see I have pretty much the same thing as I had in the last place, but in a different order and different size. The left-hand side is the media pool, and you could see this by turning on or off this window. Again, no media in the media pool. So let's right click and import media, or you can drag media into this. And I'm going to select these 3 clips, and we're going to bring this in. Don't change. You might get a window or an error message when you open a clip. It's just saying your project and your media have different attributes. Do you want to change it, or you can change it, or you can keep it the same. Okay, so we've got our media. If we scrub over, if we hover our mouse over the media, we see that we can take a preview of the media both on the thumbnail and in the source monitor. Let's start by just saying what happens if you click on one of these pieces of media and you drag it into the timeline. 2 things happen, or 3 things. First thing is a timeline sequence, a timeline clip is created. You can see this called timeline 1. The other thing is the media shows up in another monitor called a project monitor in the upper right hand corner. And the third thing is you see the media on the timeline itself. So we can scrub over this. Okay, looks fine. The other thing I would say about this timeline is you can see there's a video track, V1, and an audio track, A1. The audio track doesn't have anything on it, and that might be because the clip itself has no audio. We can look at that if we really cared. Yeah, if you click on if you right click on the clip and look at clip attributes, you could see in fact there is no audio track, which is fine. The water shot, the sunset in the water, has a little musical note here. And if we drag this, let's actually select an in point. Let's make a selection of this source media in the source monitor with an in and out point, which is I for in or O for out. You could also use these arrows, the triangles with the line, to select this. And if we drag this down to the timeline, you see that it's limited the source media just to what we've selected, and we actually have also brought in an audio track. And then let's say we want to bring this coffee on here, but we want to bring the coffee on in a little bit more precise way. We actually want to come in at exactly 4 seconds. No, let's say exactly 3 seconds to 4 seconds. So 1 second beginning at 3, and we're going to put our cursor here, and then we want it for 1 second. And again, what we're going to do with bringing this in is we're actually going to be a little more precise. In the same way that we marked in and out on the source monitor for the water shot, we're going to mark in and out on the timeline. And we're going to mark in at 3, and we're going to mark out at 4, and we're going to hit I for in and O for out. And now if we click on the source monitor and we click this overwrite clip, you will see the coffee went in exactly at 3 and it stopped exactly at 4, and then we resume the shot of this individual looking at the waterfall. Okay. If you hover over a clip, you see these little white handles or white things show up, these white tabbies. These allow you to quickly edit the ends of the clip. You can just move it one way or the other, and it will create what's called a fade. Excuse me. And this is really great. It's one of the cool features of Davinci Resolve. The other thing that you might want to do to edit these clips is you actually might want to click on the clip and open the Inspector tab in the upper right-hand corner. And here you can see the sort of traditional video manipulation tools, transform, rotate, scale, and you can just, if we push this up, this is 148%. This is 140%. We can push the coordinates so it's a little composed a little differently if we'd like. And there's a number of other features down here. Also, if you put an effect on a clip, which you find in the effects library, you could, for example, you can click on the video effects, video, open FX. We can put a blur. We could drag this onto the clip, and now under Open FX tab in the inspector window, you can adjust the quantity of the blur one direction or both directions. We can have a slight blur, and the other thing I'm going to show you before we wrap this tutorial up is how to put a title on here. So we can drag a title right on here from the effects window, and we can change this. Let's just say coffee time, and you can adjust the attributes of this title in the inspector window, and again, you could do that. Now that's pretty much everything I'm going to show you for the edit workspace. There's also a Fusion workspace, which is DaVinci's way of saying effects, and there's a color workspace, which is for editing color. We can do just a really quick push this into the yellows so that it matches the other shots, sort of yellow golden hour. There's a Fairlight, which is kind of a digital audio work area, and the Deliver tab, which allows you to choose how you're going to export your masterpiece here. So we want to actually, let's cut this down a little bit. Just dragging the ends of the clip makes it shorter, and we can change this to coffee and we want to change the place where it saves. Let's go to the desktop, and we can have custom settings for video or audio, as well as for the file. Or we can choose from one of the presets at the top. And let's leave this at 24 frames per second, HD, and click Add to Render Queue, and then start render, which is going to save our video clip. So that is a super fast crash course in Davinci Resolve. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please write it in the comments. Subscribe, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. Watch it again if you had any questions. Thanks.